Hello and welcome to my shed. I've not been to the waterside this week. Ben's been in the garage and all sorts of things have been going on with that. I'm not going to go into details on that, just to say that the van is now fixed and working as it should be. I'm all happy with it and we should move on. I've had a lot of preparation to do for the cold season, and part of that is me sitting down the shed tying bits and pieces, tying up some hook lengths, because I don't find the ready tied stuff, A, there doesn't seem to be too much available, and B, the shops don't seem to have much stock of it, so I've been tying some bits and pieces myself. So I'm going to have a look now at tying some loops, different methods I use for tying loops, and I'm also going to tie up a 3-inch hook length. And the 3-inch hook length are for these little tiny ICM feeders from Preston. These little ones, the 4-inch hook lengths are a bit too long, so these little tiny method feeders suit a 3-inch hook length much better. Obviously at waters where you're allowed to use them, but let's jump in and take a look. So this is my little makeshift studio I've set up in my shed. I have to say the lighting's quite nice for tying hook lengths. These are the bits and pieces I'll be using today. Not all on video today, but this is generally what I use to tie hook lengths. Let's start with the loop tire. Yes, I'm using AccuPower 0.14 today. That's what I plan to use to tie the 3-inch hook lengths later, so no cheating here. I'm actually using the line that I'll be using to make hook lengths out of. It's probably going to be a bit harder to see. So I start all of these pretty much the same way, by making a loop and then putting another loop over the top. Got to get that loop big enough to get it into the end there. So one twist and put the other loop over. Pull it tight and then pull it down so that that loop stays inside. A little bit of saliva just to lubricate the knot. And if you do it that way every time, using the same end, you'll get the same size loop. Now this one again starts the same way. You pretty much little twist there, put the other loop through, which is pretty much how I tie a figure of 8 loop manually anyway. I would just pull that tight there, but using the tool and the particular end you can get the loops the same size every time. Pull the loop tight, pop it off the short one, and there you have another loop, and again it's going to be the same size every time. Cut off the tack end. So this last method is not one that I use too often, using a gated needle. This one's stolen from my carp gear. Again, starting the same loop, pass through and twist, and get that loop in there, close the gate, pull it through. As you can see, it's a perfect figure of 8, and you can work that loop up and down to get the size of loop you want. Particularly useful for 2-inch hook lengths, this one, because you can get very small loops with not a lot of line. Again, cut off the tag end. So let's tie this banded 3-inch hook length. Again, the AccuPower 0.14. Tie on the band This is just a normal overhand knot. I find this bit one of the trickier bits, to be honest, because it needs to be a fairly small loop. Push the band through the overhand loop and then adjust the loop size before pulling it tight. Cut off the tag end. Cut the line off the spool, giving yourself plenty. I've left myself probably 25 centimeters there, and we're ready to tie the hook on using a knotless knot. So this next bit's important, and that's getting the length of the hair correct. And this is one of the reasons I'll tie my own hook lengths, is I'll vary the length of this hair depending on what I'm going to do with the hook length. This one I want the band just sitting away from the bend. I'm not going to be using massive baits on this, so it can be fairly close to the bend. And then I shall whip down the shank, leaving the hair on top of the hook, and I shall put about 14 turns on this. My rule of thumb on turns is that I'll do enough turns to take them down so they are level with the point of the hook. This is fiddly. This is a 16 hook, fiddly to hang on to. I did practice doing this a few times off camera because it takes a little bit of getting used to again when you haven't tied any for a while. And then back up through the eye of the hook there, just straightening that out because that's gone round the wrong side. So the next thing to do is to set the length of the hook length, using a board of nails I've set up with various hook length sizes, so around the end, and then pull that off holding the loop, and that is going to set how long this hook length will be. So with a 3-inch hook length you've got just enough line to play with that you can use a loop tyer to tie that loop on, and just make sure you don't move that loop position. This is done in the same way as I did earlier, using the loop tyer, and the bit going over now is in the same place as it was where I took it off the pin board. If you move that, you won't get the same length every time. A little bit of saliva and that's done. And there you have a perfect 3-inch hook length. If you've enjoyed the video, then don't forget to give me a like, and please pop along to my channel and have a look at my other videos, and please subscribe. Take care.